You can make textures yourself, actual textures, a number of different ways. So here's some texture I've started down here. It's really fancy, folks, how I made this. But it looks cool, right? I mean, it looks interesting. So I've taken and folded this a bunch of times just so that, folded it 4 times just so I can do less cutting. And then at the folds, it'll be a little thicker. So well, that one's pretty thin. Sometimes I come back and do an extra cut at that fold. The way I got it to, like, this is a texture, but it's a little bit more interesting with some curl. And the way I got it to do that is I used the back of the ruler, just the metal part on the ruler. You can do it with the scissors too. If you wrap packages and make the ribbon curl, I'm just doing the same thing. Oops, a little too hard that time. Dragging it gently on those pieces to make them curl. And I guess I'll scrap that bit. And then, of course, this is going to have to go into your you're going to have to think about how this goes into your composition because it's such a more complicated shape. Those ones didn't get as much curl as I wanted. But it's an interesting texture, you know, a tactile texture. This piece, where is my paper? This piece here is a folded texture, and it's simpler to make than it maybe looks like it is. I'm going to take and fold the pieces back and forth a few times, and then this way. So now I've got a bunch of up and downs, and then it's a little sideways twist like that several times. And then the complicated part is just reversing the folds. So what I want to do is have every up and down be reversed, which isn't quite how I folded it. I know other people who edit their videos might make this speed up and you wouldn't have to watch all of this. But now I can reverse those folds, and by reversing them, oops, I missed one. By reversing all of the set of folds so that every other one it goes up, back, just be gentle. If you make those creases a little bit more obvious right away, it'll go a little faster. Mine looks a little awkward, but you can see that it's starting to take on that shape. And then I would just continue doing that. Still missed that one. I would just continue doing that for each of the next levels. You can see where those folds are. And you end up, if you do your folds carefully and extra creases, this is also a bit stiffer paper, you can get some texture happening that way. So other tools that you can use for creating texture in papers is obviously you can cut and rip textures and glue them together and things like that. And I've got a video of folks doing that. But you can also use a scoring, essentially what I've just done there is I've created a score with the with the scissors, so that this part of the paper is sticking up. And I can continue to do that sort of thing and just essentially bend the paper at that score to make that highlighted and stuck up and down. Another sort of thing that you might do, I need a little less space here, is use this is fairly subtle, I might have to zoom in, but I'm using what? Oh, there it is. I'm using a stylus. This is a ball stylus, and I'm cutting in, I'm impressing into that paper to create what's a very subtle texture there. But you can make an interesting subtle texture. You can even highlight it. It's hard to see on the video. There we go. In the light, you can get it highlighted with a little bit of color. You can essentially brush the color in and brush it away. But that's an approach you can take. And then the other one was coming from behind, and you can see how this tool, I'm just using I'm using the corner of the fold or the ruler to create some textures, and I'm trying not to go all the way through, but now I've got that texture that happens on the paper. And this one's a little less subtle than the stylus, the ball stylus itself. Sticks, rulers, pencils from behind, wrinkling the paper, cutting the paper, folding the paper. This one's a real soft paper and it's just wrinkled up, and I just love how different the texture of this wrinkled paper looks than some of the others.